What is one thing that we are using a lot that will become scarce in the next 5 to 10 years?
We consume more chocolate and coffee than we are able to grow it, meaning less cocoa as ingredients in a chocolate bar and more questionable ingredients.
Soil. Privacy, on and offline, tracking is getting out of hand.
Fertilizer shortage. Experts know about it. The public not.
Access to national parks. The demand keeps rising, but you can't exactly make more of them. Already a bunch of the more popular ones have had to implement timed access and reservation. Systems to manage the crowd spots at some of the campgrounds are being snapped up the moment they become available. It's just going to get harder and harder to visit them in the coming years.
Strangely, Googling where you get good answers. The advance of AI means that the default answers are getting worse and worse. I wish I had my fingers on the article that describes this phenomenon, because it's a real problem. It's nearly impossible to stop. And telling people, hey, just Google it, won't work nearly as well in the years to come.
Props to Op for continually asking the follow-up question of why do you think that? So this thread isn't just a long list of single-word answers with no explanation like so many other threads.
Seafood, massive tragedy of the common situation. Huge portions of the world's seafood catches are being done illegally, and even the illegal catches are unsustainable. Massive factory ships that process hauls out in the remote waters thousands of miles from home. Ports allowing fishing trawlers, staffed with slave labor to stay at sea for months or even a year at a time. Then of course, climate change is heating our oceans so aquatic life experiences die-offs. Like the billion crabs off Alaska last year and acidifying seawater so plankton which makes oxygen and feed the food chain have difficulty surviving. Plastics are affecting life forms and reproduction, etc. Clean water will start to become more scarce in some places, while flooding will be a lot more common in other places. Those issues are already an issue now, to be honest.
Sand for construction purposes.
A lot of fish. The oceans will be even more fucked, and few people seem to care. Hell, China is doing their best to make the problem worse.
Coffee. If the rate of coffee prices go up while being harder to grow continues, it's going to be a rich person thing in the next decade or so.
Helium. We can't create it, and we can't take it out of air. It is needed for medical equipment and other useful tools. Yet we put it in balloons and let it fly.
Physical media will likely be dead 10 years from now, sadly. And it sucks because, as we've seen with the Sony Discovery fiasco a couple months ago, you don't own digital products. Despite you having paid for them, it's basically a license that can be revoked at any time. Imagine paying $70 for a racing video game and then it's removed because of license expiration with some of the car companies, so you can't play that game anymore, and no refund option. There really need to be some consumer protections put in place.
High-paying, white-collar jobs, I definitely don't need for different bosses.
Lightning charging cables.
Hope.